again, and welcome to the Author Roundup. This special segment of the Book Connection Show showcases emerging indie authors who join us for a discussion of their newly published books. Join us for a conversation with our next guest author. Hi there, welcome to Author Roundup. My name is Emma, if you're new here, and welcome to the show. I have my guest today, Kaitlin Brown. Kaitlin is a dynamic woman of faith, a devoted wife, and a loving mother. At 29, she has already distinguished herself as an entrepreneur, mentor, and public speaker. Kaitlin, a communication and arts graduate of Florida International University, is the co-founder of a global company, and she is building her next venture, inspiring others through her creativity, leadership, and faith. Her latest book is called You Waited. Hi, Kaitlin. How are you today?
I'm doing good, Emma. How are you?
I'm very good. So your book, is this your first book? Okay.
Yes, this is my
Congratulations.
first
That's
book. Thank you
exciting.
so much. I feel like it took forever to get here, but we're here, so I'm
You're here.
happy.
Yeah. And so can you tell us a little bit about your published book?
Yeah, so I actually started writing this book when I was 21 years old, in my senior year at Florida International University.
Hmm.
And during that time, I was kind of like, what am I going to do in life? I was the ambassador for my university as at the time, Miss FIU, and I was traveling and speaking on behalf of the university, on behalf of the state of Florida. I represented them in a competition, and then I came to my senior year, like my week of graduation. I'm like, okay, so what am I going to do? Because I was working a 9 to 5, and that back at that time, I was really diving in deep in my relationship with God. And
Hmm.
I was just praying to God, like, what do I do? What do I do? And I just woke up one morning at like 5:30 in the morning, and God's like, you're going to start writing. And I started writing this book, and I actually finished, I want to say 80% of the book in the first week.
Oh my
And
goodness.
this was when I was 21, 22. And then, yeah, I didn't finish. And then I kind of just closed it for a few years. I didn't really do anything with it until I reopened in 2021 and then again in 2023 to finish the book. And then now we're publishing 8 years later. So I just
Hmm.
turned 30, so it's crazy.
Hmm. So this book it has a character though, a young woman named Alexandria. So this character is based off of your life.
No, this
Oh,
character is
okay.
a fiction character. So
Okay.
the story is based off of a young woman by the name of Alexandria Rodriguez, and she lives in New York City, in a small apartment with her grandmother. And she's kind of just living life, but she's not living alive. Like she's just
Hmm.
living the day to day.
Yeah.
She's struggling. She's taking care of her grandfather. Her past is very unfortunate, the way that her, mom passed away and, what happened with her parents. And so she's kind of just lived this very rough life, and not really knowing what it is that God has for her. And
Hmm.
this book actually starts to show the inspirational journey and transformative journey of her life as God
Hmm.
starts to speak to her and starts to transform her life. So it's amazing.
Okay. Okay, so Alexandria, she's a bartender, her whose life, begins to shift after an encounter with a mysterious customer. So that's a big part of your book. Without giving too much away, what does he represent through her journey?
I believe that this individual represents the way that God uses people in our lives to just like speak to us, and then like we're like, where did that come from? Have
Hmm.
that ever happened to you where like
Yeah.
somebody just says something random, and it could be something you've either been praying for or thinking about, and they come out
Hmm.
of nowhere and they say something, and you're like, that's from God.
Hmm.
And I think that that's what this individual represents, is that God would literally use anybody if he wants to get a message across to you. Um, and so that individual, those words that he spoke to her that
Hmm.
day, they stayed with her for a very long time.
Hmm. And so this character, Alexandria, you mentioned like she just is basically, existing and not really living. So that obviously, battling self-doubt, while also dreaming about her future. Why was it important for you to explore the tension between those two about doubt versus a calling to do something?
Because I think it's so relatable. I think that that's something that a lot of
Yeah.
people go through, especially like me right now as a mom. Like I remember when I first became a mom, I was transitioning from becoming a full-time entrepreneur to, oh, this is like my whole life right now. My
Hmm.
son instantly became my
Yeah.
entire life, my being, my existence. And I really struggled in personally in that season. And this was just like 2 years ago of like, okay, God, like, is that it? I'm just like a mom, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Like that's my calling. And it's a big part of who I am, but God
Hmm.
still is calling me to other things. And I think that this book relates to the fact that although Alexandria is not a mom, but it relates to the fact that no, your life is just not for you to just live day to day, but God
Hmm.
has a purpose and a calling over your life, and He
Hmm.
will show you through people, through dreams, through different ways, and He will start to call you towards that purpose. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's kind of the navigation of this story, and so I feel like a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And another aspect of your book is that she is caregiving for her sick grandmother, right? And so that adds another like emotional layer of the story. How does that responsibility shape Alexandria's growth in her life?
Yeah, so that becomes her whole life. Her whole life is I need to work as much as I can to take care of my grandmother. That is her personality
Hmm.
throughout the book. And she will work overtime. She will work on her birthday. She will work whenever she can. And the only reason why she's a bartender is because the tips are good, but she
Hmm.
wants to get out of that life. She wants to work in a restaurant. She doesn't want to work in a bar anymore,
Yeah.
but she's afraid that it won't be enough money to take care of her grandmother. So
Hmm.
her whole focus is my goal in my existence is to care for my grandmother. And
Hmm.
as her grandmother is getting more and more sick, she starts to kind of sit with the fact that she's not going to be here forever. And what am I going to do after?
Hmm. And so the title of your book is called You Waited. So I'm sure, a lot of people go through that period of a waiting season. So what have you personally learned about waiting, and especially when it feels like, nothing may be like happening in your life, or why did you choose, I guess, that title for your book?
Many reasons, but I believe that during the waiting season, you praise while you wait. The
Mm-hmm.
waiting season is so beautiful because God plans that on purpose. It's an appointed time for you to just be still. And I believe that God doesn't just do things just because, like everything is with a purpose. And so, for me, I guess in retrospect, my waiting season was my husband and I trying to conceive
Hmm.
for like 3 years. And I had three miscarriages. And
Hmm.
so for a very long time, I was like, is motherhood in my cards? Like, does God have that over my life?
Hmm.
And so my son is a miracle baby. He's a rainbow baby. And I got pregnant when I least expected it. And
Hmm.
they thought I lost him and I was hospitalized for a few
Oh
days
gosh.
and they found a heartbeat and he was still there and now he's running around, two
Oh,
and a half
so
years old,
sweet.
baby boy, and I'm so grateful and blessed. So honestly, during that phase, God was like, I need you to finish this book. Like while
Hmm.
I was going through this waiting season of becoming a mother, God was like, I need you to finish the book and I need you to publish it. And
Hmm.
so it was so crazy too, because even the publishing company, I was like looking at different companies and
Hmm.
I just kept praying and praying, okay, God, like which one? Like what do I do? I don't know. And the publishing company of my Bible ended up being the publishing company of my book.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's how you found out about Wespo?
No, I actually was just like looking at them. I was speaking to them and I talked to one of the representatives and they
Uh-huh.
told me like, hey, by any chance, like, do you have a Bible in your house? And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, I have my Bible.
Oh,
They're like, you
okay.
should look at it. I'm pretty sure we're the ones who published it.
That's
And they were
crazy.
right because I grabbed it and I was like, okay, I guess I'm publishing with you guys.
That was a sign. Oh my gosh, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And so you've talked about a little bit about your faith, but can you talk about more about your faith and why it was so important for you to create a faith-based book?
Yeah, I think that right now there's a lot of incredible novels, love stories, romances out there.
Hmm.
But I think it's important that there's these Christian inspirational love stories that are greater than just between a man and a woman. Like the greatest love story of all is the love that Jesus has for us. And I believe that inside of this book, people are going to feel that. And
Hmm.
they are also going to get the traditional, um, I would just sprinkle this. They will get the traditional love story as well, somewhere mixed in. But the biggest love story of all is the way that Jesus loves us. And so
Hmm.
that was my focus with writing this book, because I do feel that Alexandria has waited her whole life to feel like she does have purpose and that God does have a calling over her life,
Hmm.
and she ultimately finds that.
Hmm. And so we talked about relatability and how Alexandria is going through life, and people can definitely relate to that. And the war in her mind is like ongoing. How important was it for you to really have readers relate to her internal battle with feeling unworthy?
I think it was very important because I know that that's something that I've struggled with at some point in
Hmm.
my life. And I know that that is something that a lot of people struggle with. And kind of just being inside of her head
Hmm.
and realizing that, well, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one who goes through this. And look at what God did for her. And then if he can do
Hmm.
it for her, he can do it for me. And
Hmm.
so that was my focus on really like talking about her dreams, talking about the way that she thinks, or the way that she feels about, certain monumental, pivotal points that start happening in the book. This
Hmm.
is very much the way that us, human beings think and feel when things start to shift in our own lives. And
Yeah.
I had a woman who's like a bookworm read my book, and she's like a hardcore bookworm. She like reads books and everything, and she's into like the thrillers, the fantasy love novels and all that. And I said, listen, I know like you're not like a churchgoer or anything, but I would really love for you to read this book and let me know what you think. And she wrote like the biggest review on Amazon, which by the way, we're top
Aw.
10 on Amazon for Christian
Woo!
fiction. So I'm very
Nice.
excited.
That's
But
exciting.
she read the book in like a day and a half, and she was like, this book, I was afraid it was going to be like too churchy and just not
Yeah.
really relatable. She goes, this is the most raw, unedited version of how a relationship with Jesus really is. And it just makes me want to like pursue a relationship with God even deeper. And
Oh,
like that
wow.
ultimately was like the biggest sign of like, this is going to be huge and it's going to be a huge success. Because that's what I wanted. I wanted that
Yeah.
raw, unedited version to feel like this is me, like this could be,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I feel like that's really important for an author to put themselves in the reader's shoes and really create something that they can relate to. Was that easy for you to do, like being a first-time writer slash author? Was it easy to go about writing your book in that sort of aspect, that one aspect?
Yeah, I believe it was fairly easy. Like I said,
Hmm.
I when I have a vision, I run and I run as fast as I can. So most of the book was completed, about
Hmm.
80% of the book back in 2018. And now we're in 2026. And
Hmm.
the reason why I closed that book and I did not reopen it is because of fear. I allowed fear to hold me back, thinking, no, you can't do this. You're not an author. But faith was telling me otherwise. And so in 2021, right before I got married, God was like, it's time to finish the book. And then, after we got married and we were trying to have, our first child, during that time, I was like, I really need to finish this book. Like, I just need to finish it, even if I don't publish it. And then in 2023, I was like, I am publishing this book. When my son was born that year, I'm like,
Hmm.
I have to publish this book because this is like my why. Um,
Yeah.
and I can't hold back any longer. And so for me, that was just such a main pivotal point. So really getting in her head and giving that to the readers
Yeah.
wasn't difficult at all for me because it was also certain things that I was struggling with in my own life, that I
Hmm.
was able to say, well, I can relate to Alexandria in this way.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was good.
Yeah. And so how did the storytelling aspect of writing come to you? Was that exciting for you to, create a story, or how did you go about using storytelling as a writing style, and how do you think your writing style came out when writing your book?
To be honest, I didn't think I had a writing style. I was just flowing. Like the idea of this book, as I was going chapter by chapter, I was like, ooh, we're gonna add this. Oh, we're gonna do this. And it was just the ideas just kept coming. It wasn't like
Hmm.
I had a blueprint and then I just
Yeah.
started writing and I knew exactly. Like right now, I'm working on another book. And I
Nice.
am also working on the sequel of this book. So I'm actually working on
Oh,
two books.
cool. Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah, so I'm working on another book. This one is a nonfiction. This is more on like American history because the United States of America turned 250 years old this year. So
Hmm.
that's a little bit easier because that is very chronological. You can go
Yeah.
from 1776 to 2026, and you can go through all the major pivotal points in American history. Um,
Hmm.
and that book is One Nation Under God. That book is really to bring unity through understanding of, American history. So that's what I'm working on now. And that's a little bit easier because that's not storytelling. And so I've written
Yeah.
50, I wrote like 50 pages last week. Like because it's just coming to me. When you're storytelling, you use a different side of your brain. It's like you're imaginatory, like you're imagining like what does this character look like? What do they sound like? What's their voice in the story? What's their
Hmm.
story? What's their past? What's their present? What's their future? And so you get to create all of that. So I feel like
Hmm.
storytelling is just like a lot more like exciting in that way. But I like nonfiction in the fact that this is real life. Like
Yeah.
this isn't storytelling, like this is real. So
Yeah.
I actually like both. So I don't really particularly have a specific style. I just think that, whatever I feel like God is calling me to do, I do it.
Yeah. And another part of your book that plays, a major role in the story is timing and the timing, between the reunion of Alexandria with, this customer that we talked about earlier. What message were you hoping to share about divine timing?
Oh, I love that question.
Yeah.
Um, Without saying too much, I'm trying to
Yeah.
figure
Yeah,
out
I
what
know.
to say without saying too much, but I think that this is so crucial because God will not give you something that he feels like you are not ready for.
Hmm.
And what you're going to see throughout this book, You Waited, is that during the waiting season, it was a preparation season.
Hmm.
And that's really all that I can say for now.
Hmm.
And that preparation season was intentional, it
Hmm.
was strategic, and it was needed for what's to come in her next season, which is the sequel that I'm currently working on.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting.
Thank you.
Um, so what would you say to readers that are currently going through their own season of, uncertainty? What do you hope that they take away from Alexandria's journey?
That there's a little bit of Alexandria in all of us. And we can all admit that, myself included, where we felt fear of the unknown, where we felt unworthy, where we felt like, what is my purpose in life? What is my calling? People talk
Hmm.
about it like it's this grand old thing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, well, your calling is to be on stage and travel the world. Like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe your calling is to be a teacher. Maybe your calling is to be serving in the United States military. Maybe your calling is to, own a business or build a church. And
Hmm.
I love the way that just God uses anybody, and all he wants is the willingness for us to just say, God, use me,
Hmm.
and he will put you in places where your purpose is fulfilled. And so I just think that that's so amazing. And I hope that for the people that are reading the book, you have purpose, you have calling. Um, don't overthink it and just lean into God, ears
Hmm.
open wide, and listen to what it is that He has for you. And I'm very intuitive in my
Hmm.
relationship with God. I like silence, so that's something I would recommend. Is just sit in silence, journal. I actually have. This is something that I feel like God is speaking over me right now. So I wrote this down last night and I have it in front of my computer just to keep me focused. Like it's not
Hmm.
about this, this, and this. It's about this. Like this is what I
Hmm.
need you to focus on. And God's voice isn't just going to be like this verbal announcement in your ear. A lot of it is just your prayer, reading of the word, and just sitting in that silence, and you'll
Hmm.
know, where God is leading you.
Hmm. And so Alexandria, goes through a transformative period. What does transformation mean to you, and what do you think that word means to you in your life?
I think transformation is really the process. It's the journey. It's not about getting to the end of the journey. It's about the value of the journey itself. A lot of
Hmm.
people, I want to hit that goal. I just want to get there already.
Yeah.
During that season while you're waiting, that is the best season. Because think about it, like when you get married, right? You're going to be married for the rest of your life. But what do you love going back to once you're married? You love going back to like, oh my gosh, when we were dating,
Dating.
first met, when you proposed, like that was the process. That
Hmm.
was the journey to marriage. And once you're there for the rest of your life and it's beautiful, but you always reminiscent on what it was waiting for marriage. What
Yeah.
did it look like? How crazy and amazing and beautiful roller coaster it was during that process. And so I feel like marriage is such a perfect example of like even life itself. Like it's not so much about getting to the goal, it's about
Yeah.
the journey of what it
True.
is to actually get there.
Yeah. And so, so you mentioned that you started writing your book in 2018, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so, so when did it came out last year, correct? It finally like came out.
It actually officially published this year, January
Okay, this
16th,
year.
but I
Okay.
didn't launch it until February 28th, my birthday
Okay.
last Saturday. So it
Oh,
was like,
nice. Happy
yeah,
belated.
thank you. So I did like a launch dinner like party. It wasn't really a
Yeah.
party, it was more like a dinner. And it was called Chapter 30, and it was my 30th
Oh,
birthday
cute.
and the book launch. So yeah, and yeah, we're still top 10 Christian fiction on Amazon, and I feel
Awesome.
like that's huge even for first time authors. So I'm very grateful, I'm very blessed, and yeah.
What would you say makes your Christian fiction novel different from other?
I mean, that's a great question because I haven't read every Christian fiction book in the world. Um, but I think that every story is beautiful in its own way. And just like us as human beings, we all have our own fingerprint, right? You and I don't
Hmm.
have the same fingerprint, and we all have our own stories. And
Hmm.
so, um, to not discredit every other Christian fiction because I think that that's amazing. I feel like that world is growing. I feel like more people should be writing Christian fiction novels and books because the world has created a lot of these amazing books and stories that have turned into movies, which I've gone to see and I love it as well. But I'm
Hmm.
like, man, we need more Christian fiction. So not that my story is better or theirs are better, but I just feel like in contribution just bringing Christian fiction into the world, I think it's just going to be so powerful.
Hmm. And what was your writing experience like writing this book? I know that it was a while ago when you started, when you said you finished like 80% of it, but can you remember like what your writing experience was like or what your writing process was like?
All I remember was like I was in like this, it sounds kind of gross, but like I was like in the same clothes for like 2 days straight. I was just not leaving my room. I was like, okay, I have to go eat something. I have to go use the bathroom, and then
Yeah.
like shower, whatever, come back, and I would just go again, go, and it was just like nonstop. I was writing for like 10 hours, 12 hours,
Hmm.
14
Oh
hours a
my
day.
gosh.
And the story was just flowing in my mind, and I didn't want to stop. I didn't want to get distracted. And much like even right now, I've been in that cocoon with
Yeah.
the book that I'm writing now. And yesterday, I had my best friend and another friend of mine come over, and they were going through some stuff. And I'm getting ready to leave to Germany. I have to speak at a women's conference in 3 weeks, and so they came to pick up some of my signed books that they're going
Hmm.
to be selling at the women's conference.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah, I'm very excited about that. And when they came, they were like, "Hey, do you want to go out to lunch?" And I'm like, "I can't. I'm writing a book right now. I have to stay focused." And it's just like, I don't know, maybe this is like an author thing, but like once you're like on
In
something,
it,
you're like,
yeah.
I have to remain
You have to
here.
time block.
I need to stay like in the zone, you know?
Hmm. And so, is there a part of your book that was the most fun to write?
Yes. Yes. I can't talk about it, but yes.
Oh,
Yes, I was
but
like,
there was a clear part. Yeah.
yes, I was definitely like a high watermark in the book of because I think what's really cool about the book is that the reader starts to puzzle piece everything together. And then at
Oh,
some
okay.
point in the book, the reader realizes what's going on, and
Oh, nice.
they're just waiting for the
Okay.
the
Oh, so it's like kind of a mystery.
yes, like the story is built, And then the reader is like, okay, I know what's coming. But then they're like, when is it coming? When is it coming? When is it happening? And it's like,
And they're waiting and
yes,
waiting and
they're
waiting.
waiting and waiting. And it's like, it's a buildup of a few scenarios where the reader may think what they want to happen is about to happen. And then by
Mhm.
like a nick of time, it's like missed. And so it's just
Oh my
this
gosh.
like, I'm waiting on the edge of my seat for this to already happen in the book.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what really keeps the readers engaged. And
Yeah.
I've had like 6 or 7 people already tell me they finished the book in like 2 days. They're reading for like
Oh my
hours
gosh.
at a time. And
That's
I'm
such a
like,
nice compliment, binge
it
reading your
is. I was
book. Oh
like,
my God.
no way, you read it already? Like, yes. Oh my gosh, I couldn't stop reading it. Like the first 2 chapters, I was like, okay, it's a nice girl, bartender. And then they were like, after like chapter 2, I was so hooked and I was like, okay, good.
That's amazing. That says a lot about, your writing and how you don't stick to one particular thing for too long. And how like when you start a book, it can get like kind of slow, but that's a good compliment to you and your writing and how like and the mystery aspect of it. I think that's really cool about how they're waiting and waiting. Was that something that just happened organically as far as like what you wanted, how you wanted the journey of the book to go?
I
Or
think so.
yeah?
I think
Oh
so. So
wow.
like it's
That's
crazy.
impressive.
Yeah, the readers actually feel like they're waiting for something
Yeah. That's
in this
cool.
book. And yeah, when that situation finally, there's like two, but the really big situation that finally like reveals itself, um I kind of left a few question marks after that, and that's what's going to be revealed in the sequel.
Oh, nice.
So it keeps readers engaged, and I really see this becoming a trilogy of 3 books. I
Mm.
have like a whole, this is exactly how it's gonna go.
Hmm.
And so yeah, I have a few actually kind of crazy. I have a few like Christian book companies that have reached out and they want to know more about the book. They want to test the book. And so yeah, I'm excited and hopefully this book will be in the hands of the people that are meant to read it. Uh,
Yeah.
and that was my intention all along. Because I was
Hmm.
like, God, whether it's a huge success or not, I just want it to be in the hands of the people that are meant to read this book.
Yeah. And the fact that it's on the Christian bestseller list on Amazon after how many days? Not even months or weeks, like
No,
days. That's so exciting.
it made it after 10 hours of launch.
Oh my gosh.
It
That's
made
so
number
cool.
6. So I hit number 6 and I almost became an Amazon bestseller. It was like very
Ah,
close because if I went to number 1 in that category, I would have become an Amazon bestseller. So it was very close.
that's cool.
But I'm still so grateful because I'm like, wow, even top 10, like that's a huge win. And I think that just goes to show, although I waited 8 years, I think it was worth the wait.
Yeah, yeah. What was the most difficult part of your writing process? Did you have a difficult part of your
The
writing
the
process?
ending.
The ending, okay.
The ending, yes. I think after the main pivotal point of the book is revealed, it was like, okay, how do I end this book in a way where the reader is like, oh my gosh, like I just want to know what happens next.
Yeah.
So, that is how it ends.
So yeah, sets up
But
for number
but it,
two.
it at least satisfies the reader enough to say
Yeah,
like, this was worth my time, but now I want to know what happens
yeah,
in the second
yeah.
book.
And what has the feedback been like from family and friends and, loved ones about your book? Did everyone know that you were writing a book?
Yes. So
Yeah.
I actually had some of my family fly in for this. So a little bit of a personal story. My aunt, she passed away from cancer in September.
Oh, I'm
And
sorry.
I flew to Texas to go spend a week with her because I knew she was
Hmm.
sick. And she was the first person that got to read my book with me front to back. And I read it to
Oh,
her while she was, just very sick. She was either in bed or she was sitting. And my family has pictures of me like reading her my book on my laptop. And I told her, I said, I wanted you to be the first person to read this, to listen to this book, because
oh,
I'm publishing in the next 2 to 3 months. And she wound up passing away shortly after. And she's in my dedication page. And so
oh.
my family knew how important it was to me.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'm not gonna get
Oh.
emotional, but it was a
Oh,
special moment. And my
yeah, super
family,
special.
my uncles, my aunts, my cousins, they are very excited. They all bought a book, obviously, on the day of release. But with Amazon, it's very specific. It's not about how many books you sell. It's about how
Yeah.
many different people actually purchase your book. So I had people in Germany buying, I had people in Switzerland
Whoa.
buying, I had people, and that was crazy to me because I was like, wow, like I created like a little marketing campaign that lasted like a month that I created on my Instagram just to like build it up, but like I really didn't build it up for that long. It was only like 30 days.
Yeah.
So really the only ones that knew I was writing a book was my family, and I talked about it here and there on social media like throughout the
Hmm.
years, but it wasn't something consistent until about a month ago.
Okay. And does your son know that you wrote a book?
He does. He's like,
Oh.
"So this is my book. I have this is the book he waited." And there's a picture of me on the back, and he goes, "Mommy's book, mommy's book, mommy's book." And he'll sit
Oh.
like in my chair, and he's like, "I'm talking to the people, I'm talking to the people," because he knows like I speak on stage or like I do calls.
Yeah.
And like when he's home, he'll sit with me here while I train or while I speak.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I want him to feel like he's a part of it. And so,
that's sweet.
yeah, he sees my book and he goes, "It's mommy's book."
Oh,
And it makes me so
nice.
happy because I'm like,
Yeah.
man, the day God calls me to leave this world, this book is available in over 70 different countries around the world forever. So it's awesome.
Yeah. It's like your little legacy. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. And have you had any other, feedback or reviews specifically about your book that were really meaningful and special to you?
So I've had a few strangers reach out to me, either through DM or TikTok or like yeah, like Instagram, and some
Hmm.
very old, like I had a very old coworker from like 10 years ago,
Hmm.
and people just telling me like how hooked and immersed they are inside of this book. And the most reviews that I'm getting is I finished in 2 days, I finished in 3 days. And I'm like, okay, I know it's not like a super thick book, but it's 200 pages. Like, how?
Yeah, with like everyone having life going on and everything,
Yeah.
and they're like prioritizing your book. That's so like nice.
Yeah, it's like like you said, it's like a huge compliment. And like
Hmm.
even my best friend who has two kids, she's like, as soon as they go to bed, I start reading it because I want to know what happens next. And
That's so nice.
it's very
Yeah.
nice. I'm very grateful. So hopefully you'll see another book very, very soon.
Yeah. What advice would you give to a writer working on their first book?
I would say definitely publish it. Don't think twice. You only live once. And I believe that everybody has a story to share. So
Mm.
that would be my best
Very
advice.
good advice.
Don't be afraid to to put your writing out there.
Hmm.
If you don't see the recognition and the effort that you actually put in, you don't see that in return, it's okay. That doesn't
Hmm.
mean that you're not meant to be a writer. You just
Right.
keep
Yeah. Oh,
going,
yeah.
you keep writing, you keep going, and God will back you up like a hundred
Hmm.
percent. So
Yeah. Yeah. Would you say that writing has really become like a calling for you, or even a little like addicting, would you say, because you have two books that
I
you're working
know.
on right now?
And I
You
run
just
a
really love
business.
it.
And I run a business and I'm starting a new business.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Um, well, I'm very blessed that I have an amazing friendship circle and an amazing
Mhm.
team. Like even this week, my husband and I were founders of a company, and like I was just like, "Hey guys, I'm deep in this book right now." I told
Yeah.
my executive assistant, "If you need me, you text me, but if you don't need me, just tell everybody I'm
She's
busy."
busy.
And I just have like the best team because like, even this morning I have a very busy day. Like I'm catching up on a bunch of stuff because the last 3 days I've been in my cocoon.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I'm gonna let everything digest. I wrote a lot these past couple days. I'm like 50 pages in, so I'm like, let me just relax the weekend and I'll get back up on Monday.
Yeah.
And so I'm very grateful that I'm surrounded by amazing people. And I'm starting I want to launch a business by the end of this year. Um, Actually like a skincare business because
Oh,
I
nice.
suffered from acne for a very long time, and like it was just, and when I became a mom, I was like, I need to find organic, real, like farm
Mm-hmm.
raised products that I can use on my baby, on my skin. And so this is what I'm creating now, which is the call that I have in like 10 minutes with
Yeah.
our team. And again, like I'm just very blessed because I have people who are like, I believe in your vision, Katie, and I want to align with you and I want to help you. So because I have amazing people that
Yeah.
believe in this, I am able to
It's
continue to
easier.
write,
Yeah. Nice.
and I have an amazing support system. So I'm very grateful for that.
Very good. All right. Well, is there anything else that we want to mention today? Is there anything that you want to mention in any social media platforms you want to share with us or
Yes,
anything?
you can
Okay.
follow me on Instagram at Kaitlin Brown Official. And there you will find my link in my bio of like my book Instagram page where I just put information about my book. I'm working on doing a book signing in Miami very soon and any other like little events. I just did a book giveaway. But make sure to get your copies on Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
Barnes and Noble, or Westbow Press. You guys can purchase a copy of You Waited and wait and see because the sequel
Yeah.
is going to be coming very soon, actually. Not 8 years, I will tell you that.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Katie, for joining me today. And I wish you the best of luck with your future books and business ventures. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Emma. Thank you so much, and bless you and your family and your baby girl.
Thank you so much.